Chapter 1401. The couple sat amidst a sea of flowers, scrolling through the well wishes from their online friends on their phones. They were bathed in the warm, orange glow of the sun, creating a scene filled with an indescribable sense of warmth and coziness. The bodyguard sneakily snapped a few photos of them from a distance, capturing their beautifully romantic moments, and shared them with everyone. Benjamin took the phone and softly said to Arissa, "Let's stop looking at this. Let's go for a stroll up ahead." Arissa smiled. "I want to take a walk by myself." Benjamin gently brushed her nose, not giving in to her. "No way. It's either you sit in the wheelchair, or I carry you. You choose." Arissa pouted at him, her voice sweet and delicate. "Can't I walk a little bit?" Benjamin picked her up directly and moved forward. "You can't walk by yourself. Let me carry you." Arissa instinctively wrapped her hands around his neck, her eyes fixed on Benjamin. "Doesn't this tire you?" Benjamin lowered his gaze, his eyes filled with burning passion as he stared at her. "I'm willing to do this." Arissa chuckled. She teasingly scratched the skin of his neck with her hands. Feeling the tingling sensation, Benjamin narrowed his eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed slightly as he spoke in a deep and husky voice. "Do you find it more comfortable when I carry you than when you're in a wheelchair?" "Yes," Arissa said with a mischievous grin. "Sitting for too long makes my butt uncomfortable." Benjamin moved his hand slightly, giving her buttocks a gentle rub. Arissa trembled slightly, her cheeks flushing as she shyly asked, "Where do you think you're touching?" A mischievous glint flashed across his eyes, and his lips moved slightly. "You said you're not feeling well, so let me give you a massage." Arissa huffed in a delicate manner, pouting as she said, "Hold me tight. Don't accidentally drop me. You can't afford to compensate." Benjamin chuckled lightly. His arms were strong. "Don't worry. Even if I fall, I won't let you get hurt." Arissa leaned against him, looking at the distant scenery. "It's not convenient to enjoy the view when you're holding me." Benjamin lowered his gaze to look at her. "How about I carry you on my back?" Arissa's eyes lit up. The idea of him carrying her on his back seemed quite nice. However, seeing the bodyguard pushing a wheelchair not far behind them, she whispered, "Wouldn't that diminish your dignity?" With a light chuckle, Benjamin bent down to set her down, then turned around and squatted in front of her. "Hop on. I'll carry you." Arissa laughed lightly, leaning forward to rest her weight on him, wrapping her hands around his neck. Benjamin stretched his hands to the back, grasping her knees. Only then did he stand up, carrying her on his back as they toured the scenic area. Arissa was leaning on his shoulder, taking in the beautiful scenery around them. Spotting a butterfly fluttering not far away, she excitedly waved her arms and legs, almost causing Benjamin to drop her. "Benjamin, there are so many butterflies over there. Let's go take a look." Benjamin tightly held her legs, gave a slight lift, and gently scolded, "Don't get too excited. Be careful not to fall." Arissa chuckled like a happy little child, nonchalantly saying, "No worries. I'm holding onto your neck." With a light laugh, Benjamin carried her toward the direction of a small valley. Bathed in sunlight, a vast sea of flowers shimmered brilliantly. Butterflies flew around, creating a breathtaking scene. "This place is so beautiful," Arissa exclaimed, lying on him, refusing to blink her eyes. Carrying her on his back, Benjamin enjoyed the beautiful scenery with her. After a while, he turned his head slightly and asked her, "Would you like some water?" Arissa shook her head. She didn't want to look for a restroom as she was focused on enjoying the beautiful scenery. "Put me down. I want to take a picture here." Benjamin was amused. He had no choice but to let her go, handing her the phone and allowing her to take as many pictures as she wanted. While she was busy capturing the scenery, he was taking photos of her. After strolling through the sea of flowers, Benjamin continued to carry her, moving on to other scenic areas. They didn't take a horse carriage again but leisurely walked until sunset. Seeing the last ray of the setting sun fade away, Arissa reminded him, "Benjamin, let's head back. Are you hungry?" Benjamin turned around to look at her. Arissa gave an awkward smile. Her stomach growled loudly. "I'm hungry, and I need to use the restroom too." After coming out, even though she hadn't drunk much water, She couldn't resist the urge to pee at that moment. There's a restroom up ahead. Let me take you there. Benjamin quickly found the location of the restroom, and with her on his back, he headed in that direction. Chapter 1402. After the couple finished using the bathroom, Orissa didn't let Benjamin carry her anymore. Instead, they both took the carriage back to the hotel. Sean and Edwin had returned from their stroll quite early and had instructed the kitchen staff to prepare some delicious food in advance. Edwin personally supervised the process. The four of them were dining in a private room, discussing where to go to have fun after the meal. Sean was full of enthusiasm. Benjamin, how about taking Orissa to the lake after dinner? The night view there is quite nice. Benjamin knew all the places of attractions when he was designing the project plan. Let the Atmosphere production team start preparing. If it's just the night view, strolling around wouldn't be much fun. It's only when there are more interesting activities that we can truly enjoy ourselves. Sean's eyes lit up. He responded with a smile, I'll notify the park manager right away. Orissa smiled and turned to Benjamin, asking, what's the program? You'll see in a moment. Benjamin maintained an air of mystery, hoping to surprise her. Orissa smiled and directly asked Sean, who had just hung up the phone, Mr. Bailey, what's the program? Sean glanced at Benjamin. Even Benjamin is keeping this matter a secret, how dare I divulge the information? Benjamin wants to surprise you, so I dare not tell you in advance. Orissa was amused. What's so mysterious about this? Tell me, at least it'll give me something to look forward to. Sean gave an apologetic smile, then teased Benjamin, Benjamin, what's the mystery? Benjamin glared at him while Sean gave an awkward laugh. Edwin looked at them with a smile. Mr. Bailey, you should eat quickly. Stop chattering all the time. Benjamin served Orissa food, carefully picking out the fish bones for her, his affection for her clearly evident in his actions. Sean and Edwin watched their sweet interactions as if it were the most natural thing in the world and quickly started eating their food. Halfway through their meal, Kingsley called Sean. Sean, what are you up to? The voice from the other end was Kingsley's, weathered and hoarse. If it weren't for that tone, Sean would hardly recognize him. Sean glanced at Benjamin, who was taking care of Orissa's meal, and replied with a smile, I'm having a meal with Benjamin, Orissa, and Edwin. Kingsley paused for a moment, then exclaimed agitatedly, damn, you're living the high life with Benjamin. All of you are enjoying the good life, leaving me stuck in this godforsaken place. You guys are really heartless. Sean burst into hearty laughter, then told Benjamin and the others. Benjamin, Kingsley is cursing us for being heartless. That includes Orissa. Orissa's mouth twitched slightly. What did I do to him? Why did he scold me? With a gloomy expression on his handsome face, Benjamin sternly rebuked, tell him to get lost. Benjamin told you to get lost. Sean said to Kingsley. Kingsley retorted from the other side, how dare you distort the truth, Sean? I didn't scold Orissa. Ha, when you said, all of you just now, that naturally includes the four of us. How could you bring yourself to scold Edwin, who had cared for you? You're heartless, Sean retorted. I was just speaking without thinking. I was cursing at you. Put your phone on speaker. I need to explain to Benjamin. Kingsley was desperate. Without Benjamin's permission, there was no way he could go back. Staying one more day in this godforsaken place could be the death of me. I'm busy. Sean hung up the phone, leaving Kingsley anxious. In no time, Benjamin's phone rang. He glanced at the display and then chose to ignore it. Why aren't you answering your phone? Orissa craned her neck to see who it was, and upon seeing it was Kingsley, she curled her lip in disdain. He must intend to beg you for mercy. Benjamin glanced at the schadenfreude on her face. Teasing her? No longer feeling sorry for him? HMPH. Orissa let out a light huff. After all, it was Kingsley who had just offended her. I was originally going to plead on his behalf, but there's no chance now. Unable to contact Benjamin, Kingsley had no choice but to call Orissa. Orissa saw the call but didn't answer either. Chapter 1403. Kingsley was not someone who gave up easily. When Orissa didn't answer his call, he just kept dialing. Orissa saw her phone vibrating again. Her lips twitched slightly. She answered the call and put it on speaker. Kingsley's voice immediately rang out, sounding pitiful. "Orissa, I spoke without thinking and insulted Sean. I didn't really mean to involve you in it. He just deliberately twisted my words. Didn't you scold, all of you?" Orissa feigned anger, deliberately making things difficult for him. "I was just provoked. I absolutely didn't mean to scold you," Kingsley explained with a whimper. "Orissa, please forgive my unintentional mistake." Orissa chuckled and continued eating her meal. "If you weren't scolding Mrs. Graham, were you perhaps scolding me?" Edwin retorted at Kingsley. "Edwin, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I've been roughing it, eating when I can, and I've lost so much weight." Kingsley sniffled, his voice filled with unspeakable misery. "I'll show you on video. I'm really in a terrible state," Kingsley said, fearing they wouldn't believe him. He asked Orissa to connect his video call. Orissa was quite curious, too. She switched to a video call, and a face that was somewhat familiar yet strange popped up on the screen at once. The corner of her mouth twitched fiercely, and then she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Kingsley's hair was dry and stood upright, utterly disheveled. The original color of his clothes was indistinguishable. His once charming and handsome white face was now grimy, resembling a vagabond living under a bridge. Sean, driven by curiosity, got up from his seat and ran over. Seeing the look on Kingsley's face, he burst into hearty laughter. "Kingsley, are you off to wander?" Edwin watched them laughing, his curiosity piqued. He craned his neck from his seat. Orissa picked up her phone and handed it closer to Edwin. Cough, cough. "Mr. Watts, have you had plastic surgery? Is the rugged look in fashion now?" Edwin teased Kingsley. Kingsley listened to them poking fun at him. His mouth twitched severely, and his face grew even darker. Benjamin also glanced at Kingsley's appearance. The corner of his mouth slightly lifted. He even complimented, "You're looking quite good." "Ha ha." Sean was laughing so hard he was almost in stitches, clutching his stomach. His face flushed red. Kingsley was utterly devastated, fuming with anger. "You think it's easy. Why don't you come here and experience it yourself? There are no food and no drinks here. Benjamin, are you trying to kill me in this godforsaken place? There are even wolves at night." As he continued speaking, Kingsley looked as though he was on the verge of tears. Orissa reached out to wipe the tears spilling from the corner of her eyes, laughing so hard that her stomach ached. "Bring back a few wolf cubs for Zachary and the others to keep as pets when you're coming back," Benjamin said nonchalantly, not caring at all about Kingsley's suffering. Excited, Kingsley asked, "Benjamin, can I go back if I catch the wolf cubs?" Benjamin scoffed lightly. "Remind me after you catch them." Orissa glanced at Benjamin. Isn't it too dangerous for him to send Kingsley to catch wolf pups? "Wolves are dangerous. Let's not do this," she softly advised Benjamin, urging him not to issue reckless orders. "Kingsley is taking it seriously. If anything were to happen, he would also be upset. The kids will love the wolf pups," Benjamin assured her with a look, putting her at ease. Orissa spoke softly again, "But those are wild wolves. If you send Kingsley to catch wolf cubs, what if he gets hurt?" Benjamin narrowed his eyes, his voice deepening. "Are you worried about him?" The corner of Orissa's mouth twitched. She was speechless. Sean chuckled, finally managing to restrain himself. He cleared his throat and said to Orissa, "Orissa, don't worry. That Kingsley really needs a lesson. Let him learn the hard way so he'll remember in the future. No matter how incompetent he is, he's still from the military. He's not that weak." Hearing Sean say that, Orissa no longer worried as much. "Are you still worried? Do you want me to bring him back now?" Benjamin leaned in, speaking through gritted teeth. Orissa couldn't help but be amused by the sight of his jealous expression. "You're so childish." Chapter 1404. "It's because I see how much you care about him, so I'm asking for your opinion," Benjamin said, seemingly considerate of her feelings, yet he was grinding his teeth in frustration. Orissa gave him an annoyed glance, pushing him away slightly. "Eat your food. Why are you talking so much?" Sean and Edwin both turned to look in surprise, then glanced at Benjamin, unable to hold back their laughter. Benjamin, there are times when people disdain you for being talkative too. Benjamin glared at them, his powerful aura overwhelming, which stopped Sean from daring to tease him any further. After everyone finished their meal, they moved on to enjoy some lake sightseeing. Benjamin and Arissa decided to travel by carriage, leaving Sean and Edwin with no choice but to take the shuttle bus. "Are you tired?" Benjamin asked, taking a shawl and draping it over Arissa. The night had become a bit chilly. "I'm not tired." Arissa shook her head, admiring the beautiful night scenery. Even though it was the same place, the views during the day and at night were vastly different. The daytime presented a feast of nature, while the night turned into a spectacle of mesmerizing lights. The beautiful view across the night lake was simply breathtaking, with music filling the air, creating an atmosphere of unparalleled vibrancy. The several kilometers-long covered bridge was filled with quaint and charming performances, offering a refreshing feast for the eyes and ears. Arissa was led onto the boat by Benjamin without even realizing it, her gaze fixed on the covered bridge. "Benjamin, are these the programs you were talking about?" she asked. "How does it feel?" Benjamin's gaze, filled with a gentle and affectionate smile, locked onto her. Arissa laughed, her fair and delicate face becoming even more charming. "Interesting. Once it's open, the visitors will surely love it. The programs every evening of the week are all different. These are just a part of it." Benjamin introduced her to the programs there. Arissa sat on the boat, listening and watching the program at the same time. Sean and Edwin were on another small boat, not far behind them, enjoying the performances on the covered bridge. Arissa recorded a video with her phone and also took a few beautiful photos. After a round of sightseeing, an hour had already passed. When Gavin called Arissa, they had just finished their lake tour, but they hadn't returned to the hotel yet. After chatting with the children for a while, Arissa turned the camera to show them the bustling scene. The performances were still going on. "Sweethearts, what do you think? Isn't it beautiful?" Arissa asked, her face full of affection, showing no signs of fatigue even after a whole day of fun. "It's beautiful, but Mommy, we have opera here too. Tonight, we're going to watch the opera with great-grandaunt." The atmosphere over at the kids' end was hardly any quieter than around Arissa. It was genuinely crowded over there, bustling like a small marketplace. The kids also showed Arissa the scene over there. People were packed in, making it much livelier than their side. The excitement here was merely due to the performance, with only a few tourists like them. "Do you all understand the show?" Arissa playfully teased the children. The performance seems to be in the local dialect. She listened carefully but still couldn't figure out what they were singing. "Mommy, even if we can't understand, we can watch the performance. Besides, Tim and great-grandaunt can understand, so they can translate for us." Jess's mouth spread into a wide grin, her soft, childlike voice filled with excitement. She was even holding some food in her hand. Arissa couldn't help but feel envious as she watched the children, each one of them brimming with excitement and joy as they played. Seeing them so happy, she felt at ease. "There are a lot of people over there, so be careful. Okay, stay close to the adults, and don't run around. Do you hear me?" she reminded her children with concern. "We got it, Mommy. Mr. Frank and the others are always close by, protecting us. Even when we go shopping for food, they accompany us," Gavin told her. "Mommy, you should have fun too. Don't worry about us." Zachary peeked out his head to wave goodbye to Arissa, then ducked back in. "Okay, share your fun stories with me when you get back. Sweethearts, I need to go rest now. You guys have fun," Arissa told the kids, turning the camera lens at Benjamin. "Say goodbye to the kids." Benjamin glanced at her. Why didn't she remember me just now? Chapter 1405. Take care and make sure to return home early. Benjamin reminded the children on the other end. Got it. The little ones nodded in agreement, waving goodbye before hanging up the phone. Shall we head back? Benjamin asked Arissa, lowering his head. They had spent the entire day having fun, and it was time for her to rest. Arissa nodded. There wasn't much to do late at night. Let's go back. Benjamin called out to Sean and Edwin, and everyone headed back to the hotel. Benjamin, Fancy another late-night snack. Sean called out from another bus, directed at Benjamin up front. Upon hearing this, Arisa chuckled and teased Sean, "Mr. Bailey, it hasn't been long since we had dinner, has it? He got hungry just after 2 hours or so. We've been wandering around for hours. It's late at night. We should eat something, or we won't sleep well." Sean said to Arisa with a smile, "Arisa, are you hungry? What would you like to eat? I'll have the kitchen prepare it. By the time you're done with your bath, it should be ready." Arisa wasn't very hungry at the moment, having eaten quite many servings of fruit while having fun. "Make some chowder," Benjamin instructed Sean. Sean jotted down, "Benjamin, 1 chowder. Do you want anything else?" "No need." Benjamin rarely ate late-night snacks. If he weren't worried about Arisa getting hungry later, he wouldn't have ordered anything. Sean nodded slightly, then turned to ask Edwin what he wanted to eat. After that, they both notified the kitchen together. Upon returning to the mansion, Arisa went to take a bath. Benjamin had originally intended to join her, but she shooed him away. Benjamin was busy with his work in the room when the landline rang. He picked it up. "Speak. Mr. Graham, the mayor's wife, Mrs. Lord, wishes to meet Mrs. Graham." The receptionist reported carefully, knowing that it was Benjamin who had answered the phone. Benjamin narrowed his eyes, wondering what Beatrice was up to, coming to look for his wife so late at night. However, Benjamin rejected her coldly. "Mrs. Graham is resting, she's not seeing anyone." Pausing for a moment, Benjamin added, "Whoever comes looking for her, there's no need to inform her. She's not to be disturbed." "Understood." The receptionist hung up the phone and turned to Beatrice. "Mrs. Lord, I'm sorry, but Mrs. Graham has retired for the night. Please, you should head home now." Beatrice's brows furrowed. She was going to bed early just to avoid seeing her. "Thank you," she said before turning around and leaving. Over at the mansion, after Arisa finished her bath, she called out to Benjamin to take his turn. "Benjamin, I'm done washing up. You should go and freshen up too." "All right." Benjamin put down his work and got up to take a bath. Seeing that he hadn't put away his computer yet, Arisa walked over and leaned in to take a look. "Do you have another meeting soon?" "Yes." Benjamin glanced at her, reminding gently, "If you're tired, go to sleep first." Arisa smiled, her eyes sparkling. "Didn't you order late-night snacks?" "Till sleep after we eat." She turned around to head to the balcony, taking in the night view from the balcony and relaxed herself. Suddenly, Benjamin came over, pulled her into the room, closed the sliding door, and drew the curtains. Arisa looked at him incredulously. "What are you doing?" "I want to see the night view outside. It's really humid out there. Go lie down for a bit." Benjamin picked her up directly and placed her on the bed. Arisa sat on the edge of the bed, looking at him with a mix of laughter and tears. "Go take a shower quickly," she urged him. "Don't move around. Lie down," Benjamin warned her again. Arisa's mouth twitched slightly as she lay down on the bed. Happy now. Seeing her lying down obediently, Benjamin nodded in satisfaction. "I'm going to take a bath." Arisa gave a laugh and was rendered speechless by him. After being out and about for so long, she now lay in bed, freshly bathed. The comfort enveloping her entire body made her let out a sigh of contentment. Benjamin carefully listened to the sounds outside. He refused to let her go to the balcony, fearing that Beatrice might suddenly come looking for her again. He called his bodyguards, instructing them to be extra vigilant against strangers approaching. Only then did he feel at ease to take a bath. Chapter 1406. Benjamin was halfway through his bath when the doorbell rang. It must be the late-night snacks being delivered. Worried that Arisa might go out on her own, Benjamin quickly opened the bathroom door and called out to her, "Don't go out." Arisa was about to sit up when she saw Benjamin poking his head out. She was both amused and exasperated. "I'm not going. Go ahead and enjoy your bath." Benjamin then closed the door, pressing the doorbell intercom. "Just leave the stuff at the door." "Yes, Mr. Graham," the hotel staff responded, leaving the items at the door before departing. After Benjamin finished his bath, Sean called him. Benjamin picked up. "What's up?" Benjamin, the late-night snacks have arrived. Would you like some? I can bring a portion over to you. Sean offered again. No need. Benjamin glanced at Arissa and hung up the phone. I'll go get you some food. Arissa saw that his hair was still dripping wet and reminded him, you should dry your hair first. I'll dry it after I've taken the food. Benjamin draped his robe on and turned to leave the room, fetching the chowder that was placed at the door. He placed it on the table, lifted the thermal lid, and stirred evenly with a spoon. Only then did he ladle out a bowl and set it aside to cool for a while. It's still very hot. Wait a bit before you eat, he cautioned Arissa before going over to dry his hair. Arissa was lying in bed, watching him blow dry his hair. She yawned. I'm getting sleepy. With a flicker in his eyes, Benjamin looked at her, quickly shaking his hair. I'll be done soon. Arissa smiled, sat up, and reached out to touch the edge of the bowl, testing its temperature. I'm going to eat first. She picked up the bowl, crossed her legs, sat on the bed, and began to eat. She was wearing a nightgown. As she sat, the hem rolled up, revealing a large expanse of her fair and slender thighs. Benjamin's gaze darkened with fiery lust as he eyed her. His Adam's apple bobbed slightly. He turned off the hairdryer, unplugged it, and walked over. Arissa saw him standing in front of her. She looked up at him and said, this chowder is quite tasty. You should have some too. Benjamin sat beside her, taking her wrist and guiding it toward his mouth. Arissa looked at him with a radiant smile. Is it tasty? The taste isn't bad. Benjamin nodded, taking the bowl from her hands and personally feeding her. After taking a bite, Arissa noticed Benjamin was trying to feed her again. I can eat by myself. You should eat too. I can't finish all of this. Here, you eat first. Benjamin attentively brought the food to her mouth, but Arissa turned her face away. If you're not eating, then I'm not eating either. Benjamin arched his pointed eyebrows, his gaze deeply fixed on her as if he wanted to draw her into the depths of his soul. Okay. Benjamin took a bite, then brought it to her lips to feed her. Arissa looked at him, seeing that he didn't mind the spoon she had used, a sweetness welled up in her heart. The two of them took turns, each taking a bite until they finished the entire bowl of chowder. I feel a bit stuffed. Arissa patted her belly and stretched lazily on the bed. Benjamin helped her up. Stand for a bit. With her arms wrapped around Benjamin's neck, Arissa hung onto him. Let's go over to the balcony. Benjamin eyed her. Seeing her wanting to leave, he nodded and said, but you need to put on more clothes. Arissa laughed and patted his arm. Then you should go get it quickly. She sat on the bed, waiting. Benjamin gently patted her head, then went to fetch a coat. He helped her put it on before carrying her over to the balcony. Wow, it's really beautiful. Arissa had not had enough of it earlier, and now, seeing the night view again, she couldn't help but exclaim. Benjamin held her from behind, his arms resting on the railing. Together, they gazed at the stunning night view in the distance. I wonder if Sweetheart and the others have gone back yet. After a while, Arissa tuned her head to look at Benjamin. Benjamin lowered his gaze to look at her, pecking a kiss at the corner of her mouth. Chapter 1407. Arissa looked at Benjamin's handsome face, her heart racing. She turned around to respond to him. The fervor in Benjamin's eyes intensified. He held her in his embrace, and they shared a moment of tender affection. Shall we go in? The deep voice was husky, already tinged with a sexy allure. Arissa pushed him lightly, turning her head away. I still want to enjoy the night view for a while. Benjamin was still unsatisfied, pecking kisses at the corners of her mouth and cheeks. Then, he stopped and rested his chin on top of her head, holding her as they quietly took in the night view. If we don't take a good look around tonight, we won't get another chance once we head back tomorrow. Arissa felt a pang of reluctance at the thought of returning home the next day. Benjamin arched his eyebrows, whispering softly in her ear, if you like it here, we can stay a few more days. It's not far anyway, we can go back whenever you want. Arissa's eyes flickered, clearly tempted. I think we'd better not. The kids are coming back tomorrow, it wouldn't be convenient for us to stay here. Besides, it would interfere with your work if we stayed. The children can come over, Benjamin stared at her with his fiery eyes, occasionally rubbing against her face. Orissa pouted. It's too far to come here for school. It's better to come here to play on the weekends. It's too rushed on weekdays. Benjamin chuckled. All right, I'll bring you guys back here for a vacation next weekend. It's getting late, let's go to bed. Orissa took a few more glances at the night view, reluctant to go inside. Benjamin was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. He carried her into the house, saying, "We have to go back in now. From now on, you can come here whenever you want." Orissa responded. In truth, she was already feeling sleepy. She had eaten too much and felt a bit too full, making it hard for her to fall asleep without taking a moment to digest. As Benjamin laid her on the bed, Orissa repeatedly yawned the moment she touched the bed. Benjamin bent over to tuck her in. Go to sleep. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. He was still not ready for sleep. Are you still awake? Orissa looked at him. Just a moment ago, he had urged her to go inside. She thought he was coming along too. Seeing her downcast appearance, Benjamin's heart softened. With a smile, he playfully rubbed her nose. I still have a meeting to attend. You go to sleep first. He gently patted her head with his large hand, tucked the corner of the blanket around her, and then went off to work. Benjamin put on his headphones and began the meeting, his voice noticeably quieter. Orissa watched him as he started to get busy, quietly observing him. Before long, she fell asleep. Every now and then, Benjamin would glance her way. Seeing that she had fallen asleep, he got up to turn off the main light, leaving only his small lamp on as he continued the meeting. The senior executives who had a meeting with him saw Benjamin in the hotel, and they focused on reporting the key points. The multinational conference concluded in less than an hour. After shutting down his computer, Benjamin decided to rest. He carefully lifted the corner of the blanket and gently laid down next to Orissa. Only then did he turn to his side to hold her. It seemed as though Orissa caught a whiff of his familiar scent, and she snuggled into his embrace. Benjamin's thin lips lifted slightly, planting a kiss on her forehead. Her trusting gesture had put him in an exceptionally good mood. He pulled the blanket over her, tucking her in. Seeing that it was still early, he texted Ethan, checking if the kids had returned home yet. Ethan was taken aback when he saw Benjamin's message and hurriedly replied to him. Mr. Graham, we're back. We just got home. I'm going to take the kids for their baths now. Once they're done, I'll put them to bed. After seeing it, Benjamin felt relieved. He put down his phone and went to sleep, holding Orissa in his arms. As soon as Beatrice returned home, Keegan eagerly asked, Did you see her? Beatrice glanced at him, shook her head, and sat down next to him, looking a bit annoyed. No luck. Benjamin refused. Keegan's eyes flashed as he murmured, It seems that Benjamin cherishes his wife quite a bit. It could also be that our visit was too late. Why don't you try your luck another day? See if you can invite his wife for tea when Benjamin is not around. Chapter 1408. At 5:30 in the morning, the moment the alarm rang, Benjamin woke up, his lips pressed against Orissa's face. Honey, time to get up. Orissa was awakened by him. She rarely got up this early and was somewhat groggy. It seems like dawn hasn't broken yet. She mumbled. Although the curtains were drawn, she felt that dawn had not yet broken. We can't wait until dawn. We need to go watch the sunrise. Benjamin lovingly pinched her nose. Orissa remembered something, and she smiled lazily. Can I take a little more nap? Benjamin raised an eyebrow, softly saying, Get up and wash your face, change your clothes. Later, I'll carry you up the mountain, you can take a nap then. Orissa was delighted. She quickly got up and reached out to him for a hug. Benjamin sat up, got out of bed, picked her up and headed toward the bathroom. Once they were done, Benjamin washed a towel and gently wiped Orissa's face to refresh her. Do you want to brush your teeth now, or would you prefer to do it when we get back? Orissa laughed. Let's brush our teeth first, otherwise it'll be inconvenient when we want to eat later. Benjamin handed her the toothbrush, then filled the rinse cup with water and placed it aside for her. After the two of them had freshened up and changed into their sportswear and sneakers, Benjamin draped a jacket over her before carrying her out the door. The night outside was deep and tranquil, with a touch of chill in the air. Benjamin held her as they got into the carriage, instructing the bodyguard to head toward the foot of the mountain. Orissa glanced toward the neighboring side. Aren't Edwin and Sean going too? Don't mind them. Benjamin turned her head back, pulling her into his embrace. Are you cold? Orissa shook her head. I'm not cold. This early, the air just felt different. I rarely go out at this hour, she said. Her usual routine at this time was to prepare breakfast for the children. Benjamin lowered his gaze to look at her, a slight smile playing on his thin lips. Today, I'll show you something new. Do you often watch the sunrise? No, I seldom watch the sunrise. Orissa looked at him, her eyes and brows tinted with a curious smile. Do you watch it regularly? Benjamin transfixed his gaze at her. No, I just saw it when I was in the army, during a mission. Orissa nodded and asked, where did you see it? It's also on a mountain, but it's an endless expanse of primeval forest, shrouded in mist, quite ethereal indeed. Benjamin reflected back on his days in the army. They were quite good. Orissa looked at him, sensing that he quite enjoyed that kind of life. Why didn't you choose to stay? Did he make a mistake? He's so exceptional. It doesn't seem right. Benjamin looked at her, gently tousling her hair. If one day you suddenly feel tired, just leave. Orissa was somewhat skeptical, but he seemed uninterested in delving into the matter, so she didn't press further. So, you started doing business then? Benjamin nodded. Well, you've got to do something. You've done quite a successful job. Orissa teased him. Benjamin smiled, gently pinched her cheek, and said, you're very successful too. Compared to you, I'm far behind, Orissa said with a light laugh. Who said so? Benjamin playfully rubbed her nose, leaning down to whisper in her ear, you've given me 6 children. No one can compare to you. Orissa's face turned red. Is her ability to give birth considered a success? You are the greatest contributor to the Graham family. Benjamin kissed her on the face. Visibly embarrassed, Orissa pushed him away slightly. How do you plan to reward your benefactor, then? What kind of reward do you want? Benjamin asked, planting another kiss on her face. A warm breath brushed against her face, leaving a tingling sensation. Orissa rolled her eyes at him, not saying anything more. That just rolled off her tongue. How could she possibly ask him for any repayment? The children were hers too, not just his alone. Benjamin rubbed against her cheek, his tone suggestive. Chapter 1409. Orissa's cheeks were burning hot, and she turned her head to look elsewhere. Suddenly, a wave of warmth washed over her ears. She couldn't believe it and turned back to glare at the man. She lowered her voice to warn him, don't mess around. Benjamin grinned slightly, planting another kiss on her flushed face. His deep, seductive voice stirred her eardrums. I didn't mess around. He continued to nuzzle into her neck, his breath fanning over her skin, tickling her slightly. Orissa lowered her head, avoiding him. She glanced at him shyly. The bodyguard is driving the carriage, what is he still messing around for? Gazing into her angry eyes, Benjamin lightly chuckled, then held her without causing any more mischief. We'll be there soon, he whispered into her ear, his eyes fixed on the path ahead. Orissa looked around. Apart from the night light, everything was pitch black. She couldn't make out where she was. However, just a few minutes later, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Benjamin was the first to get off the carriage. He then helped her down. Let me carry you. Orissa smiled, her arm resting on Benjamin's hand. I can walk by myself. The mountain path is tough. Let me carry you up. You can also take a nap. I'll wake you up when we reach the top. Benjamin squatted in front of her, urging her to get on his back. Orissa laughed lightly, then had no choice but to climb onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. Benjamin, holding her by the legs, stood up and started walking toward the mountain. If you're tired, sleep a bit more. We're still ways away. Orissa responded, resting her head on his shoulder. I'm not sleepy now. Let's chat. With a light smile playing, Benjamin walked steadily with her on his back. Orissa's eyes darted around, clearly recognizing that they were on a tree-lined path. Her curiosity was piqued. Benjamin, do you think there may be snakes in these mountains? Yes, Benjamin responded with certainty, without a hint of hesitation. Orissa was taken aback. She looked down at him and said, "There are snakes here. We'd better be careful then." Benjamin chuckled lightly. "Indeed, there are snakes here, but none of them are venomous. Besides, snakes wouldn't be active in this season." Orissa felt relieved. It made sense, after all. It would be very dangerous if there were poisonous snakes in the soon-to-be open scenic area. Not far from them, their bodyguards were following closely behind, ensuring their safety. "Are you afraid of snakes?" Benjamin slightly turned his head to look at her, his deep voice providing a sense of security. Orissa chuckled a few times. She neither disliked nor was particularly fond of that thing. It was slippery, and if it suddenly appeared, she would definitely be startled. "Sometimes." Benjamin raised an eyebrow, somewhat puzzled by the response. "What do you mean? For instance, if it suddenly appears, I would be scared too. Besides, some venomous snakes can attack people, which can be very dangerous." Orissa explained to him, feeling somewhat embarrassed. "Aren't you afraid of snakes?" she also asked him. Benjamin grinned. "Not afraid. Snakes will be considered unlucky to cross paths with me." Orissa was full of admiration. "You know how to catch snakes. If it attacks me, I'll kill it on the spot." Orissa was speechless. "Did I scare you?" Benjamin turned his face sideways, his lips brushing against her fair cheek. A captivating scent wafted through the air. He stole another kiss. Orissa glared at him, pushing his face away. "Watch where you're going. Don't make me fall." Benjamin was full of confidence. "I won't let you fall. I could carry you up the mountain with my eyes closed." The corner of Orissa's mouth twitched slightly. "Did I scare you just now?" Benjamin continued questioning her, wondering if she thought he was violent. Orissa shook her head. "Do I seem like someone who gets scared that easily?" Benjamin playfully raised an eyebrow. "You just said you were scared of snakes popping out of nowhere. So how come you're not easily frightened now? This proves you're not as brave as you think." Orissa pouted, retorting, "Who doesn't have something they're afraid of? I don't believe there's nothing you're scared of." Benjamin scoffed lightly. "Up until now, there really haven't been any." Upon hearing his arrogant tone, Orissa was momentarily at a loss for words. Chapter 1410. Benjamin carried her all the way to the top of the mountain without even panting. Orissa was quite impressed with his stamina. The distance from the foot of the mountain to the peak was easily over 1,000 meters, and the path was inclined. Yet, he seemed to traverse it with such ease, which she couldn't have done. "Benjamin, aren't you tired? Why don't you take a break?" Orissa leaned on his shoulder, staring intently at him, noticing only a slight sheen of sweat on his forehead. "Not tired, we're here." Benjamin bounced upward, carrying her up the mountain peak before setting her down. At that moment, there was not even a hint of dawn in the distance. They had arrived quite early. After a brief rest, Benjamin had completely regained his strength. He gestured for his bodyguards to bring over a chair, which was damp from the mist on the mountaintop. Upon seeing their thorough preparations, Orissa laughed and said, "You guys have thought of everything, haven't you? Mr. Graham instructed us to prepare in advance, mentioning that the chairs on the mountaintop are rather cool." The bodyguard quickly arranged the chairs and wiped them dry before stepping aside, not disturbing the couple any further. Orissa looked at Benjamin, her heart filled with sweetness. "You thought of everything," she exclaimed. "Sit and wait." Benjamin sat down, pulling her onto his lap. Orissa quickly got up, standing to one side. Benjamin looked at her, puzzled. Orissa pointed at his leg. "You should relax first. I'll be fine standing for a while." After all, she weighed over 90 kilograms. If she sat on his lap, it would put a strain on his thighs. "I'm strong, no worries." Benjamin patted his thigh, signaling her to sit on it. "Even if you're physically strong, you shouldn't push yourself like this. How about I give you a massage?" Orissa looked at him expectantly. After all, there wasn't much to see before sunrise. Besides, he had carried her up here. She figured giving him a massage would make him feel much better. Benjamin looked deeply into her eyes. Seeing her face full of anticipation, he nodded. Sure, Orissa chuckled, squatting down to massage his calf, working her way up from the bottom to the top and kneading the flesh of his thigh. Benjamin's eyes darkened, his gaze fixed intently on her focused little face while his Adam's apple bobbed. Orissa didn't notice the man's change and continued to massage his other thigh. Her soft fingers moved up and down his leg, applying just the right amount of pressure. It was both comforting and tortuous. Benjamin's breath hitched, and he quickly grabbed her hand, stopping her from moving any further up his thigh. All right, he gave a swift tug, and in an instant, she was sitting on his lap. His raspy voice was indescribably tantalizing. He exhaled a breath that brushed against her face with scorching heat. Noticing the change in the man, Orissa felt her heartbeat became erratic. Her eyes flickered around as she shifted her attention away. Did we arrive too early? I can't see a hint of dawn yet. Benjamin wrapped his arms around her, resting his chin on her shoulder blade and gazing at the distant night view. If we don't come early, how can we watch the sunrise? The sunrise happens in an instant. Keep watching. You don't want to miss it in a moment. Orissa turned her head to look at him, then turned back to gaze with him into the darkness in the distance. A few minutes later, a faint light appeared in the distance. Soon, the first ray of sunlight pierced through the thin mist, pouring out in abundance. The layered clouds, wrapped in a golden coat, looked like a fairyland, breathtakingly beautiful. Benjamin, it's out. It looks so beautiful. Orissa gasped in astonishment, unable to tear her gaze away. Benjamin lowered his gaze to her radiant face, his thin lips curving upward slightly. I didn't lie to you, right? Isn't the sunrise here beautiful? Orissa laughed joyfully and nodded vigorously in agreement. Beautiful? It's like a fairyland in the sky. Are you implying you've been there before? Benjamin teased her, rubbing against her neck. His gaze was fixed on the beautiful scenery in the distance. I've never been there. It's just a metaphor, Orissa retorted cutely without even blinking.